Hope. Hope has two sides. There's great hope, and then a lot of times there's hopelessness.
Yes.
Have you ever been in a situation where you've had
Yes.
great hopelessness?
I did.
Deeper Hope. It's Hunt for Wellness, episode number 59. Welcome to Hunt for Wellness. I am John Hunt.
And I'm Christy Hunt.
And this is the show where we help you live your best life, mind, body, and spirit. And this episode of Hunt for Wellness is brought to you by waterdistillers.com. Great machines that produce great water for great wellness. Check it out over at waterdistillers.com. Deeper Hope.
Yes.
We've been kind of on a little theme here lately. A couple shows ago, we started out with Deeper Rest.
Yes.
Talk about how to just feel better in general through getting deeper rest. And then we followed that one up with Deeper Joy, which is a very uplifting episode. If you want to go check that out over at huntforwellness.com.
Check it out.
That was episode 58. This is episode 59, and we are talking about Deeper Hope.
Yes.
Hope. Hope has two sides. There's great hope, and then a lot of times there's hopelessness.
Yes.
Have you ever been in a situation where you've had great hopelessness?
I did. In fact, I really didn't understand hope until I lost it.
Oh, okay. You lost hope. Well, let's
figure
out
lose
what
hope.
happened on there.
So, we were in a challenging situation, very challenging, and I felt like I had no future. I felt the options had run out. Nothing was going to change in our lives, and we were actually all doomed. Our whole family.
Doomed. We're done.
Yes. And the problem was I didn't say those words out loud, but I felt them deeply.
Right. You felt it.
And if I would have said them out loud, and when I finally said them out loud, I thought, wait a minute, that's not true.
No.
That really isn't. And I was shocked that I was thinking so dramatically, actually.
Right. Well, and it's easy to lose hope in certain circumstances and certain environment.
Yes.
Right? I mean, even around certain people. Certain people can help you lose hope.
That's true.
Yes. So, how do we want to define hope today for the purpose of this particular discussion?
It's about the future, and it's about having an optimistic state of mind with an expectation of positive outcome for events or circumstances or the world at large. So you can have low hope or high hope regarding several things.
But in the Bible, our hope is in the Lord.
Yes.
Because that's a future thing that we are all counting on.
Yes, yes.
Right? Okay.
And there's also this Snyder theory of hope, and he talks about hope in two ways. One is your perceived capability to reach a desired goal, and the second is ways to accomplish the goal. Like that there are several ways. So he calls this agency, meaning like yourself and ability, and then pathways. And he has a scale that he calls the future scale, or it can be the Snyder theory of hope assessment scale. And then there's been studies done on this scale, and they've researched it and found out that it is a reliable scale. It's reproducible. So they've used it in research studies to find out, does hope have anything to do with health outcomes, how people feel, academics, physical fitness? Does it have anything to do with that? And they found that it does. So one of the studies called Hopelessness and Risk of Mortality and Incidence in Myocardial Infarction and Cancer
Blah, 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 blah. What? Yeah, okay.
Myocardial infarction is a heart attack.
Okay. Why don't you say heart attack? Okay.
Well,
Why do you have to be so medical all the time,
to give the real title.
Okay. No, I know. That's good.
So they were studying men aged 42 to 60 they had 2,428 men in this study. And it was a longitudinal study, which is a great kind of study because you don't know the outcome and you're going to study them over time to see what
years
happens.
Sometimes, right?
Exactly. It's done over several years. And so men that were moderately and highly hopeless were at a 3-fold increased risk of death from violence or injury compared with the reference group. And that was even after adjusting for biological, socioeconomic, behavioral risk factors, perceived health, adjusting for depression, didn't even include depression, prevalent disease, or social support. So what that means is when they adjust for that, they make sure that those factors, like outside of those factors, they still had a higher risk of violence or injury compared with another group that's very similar to them. Like this, it's supposed to be exactly the same, but you can't get perfectly exactly the same. And then also in the study, high hopelessness predicted heart attacks.
Wow.
So the people that had high hopelessness were more inclined to have a heart attack, and moderate hopelessness was associated with cancer. So hopelessness is a strong predictor of adverse health outcomes, meaning poor health.
Yeah, we talked about this in our emotions with essential oils. That's one of our very first podcasts, I think podcast number 2, about how, emotional and physical totally play together.
Those health, emotional and physical health is tied together.
Yeah, it's tied together.
And so this is a study that's showing how it does.
Interesting.
And so if you have low hope, you're at risk for poor health. And then they've also found that people with higher hope obviously have better health, do better in school, athletically and physically. So it's real. Hope is real, even though we can't exactly understand fully how it works in the brain.
Yes. I remember there was a business book, though, called Hope is Not a Strategy. So, you can hope for a lot of things, but you still have to have a plan to follow.
Yes.
And
you have to do something.
Because, and I think that, again, back to the definition, hope is looking forward. You can't, you can't live on hope alone.
Correct. You need action.
And
so, that's one thing we're advocating here. Take some action if you do have low hope.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some ways to improve it. But I want to talk about the placebo effect, because that is like also another way that they've kind of studied hope.
Okay.
So have you heard of the placebo effect?
Well, I know what a placebo is. Like you give someone a pill that really isn't medicine. It's just like a little sugar, and they think they're taking a pill, and then they believe that they're healed or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's related to hope. They have a hope that this is going to do something for them. And there's been lots of studies to actually, is this true? Is this real?
Yeah.
Or are these people faking it? And it is real. There's been several studies done on it. One was scientists inflated a blood pressure cuff around a person's arm, bringing up to 260 millimeters of mercury, which is very tight and absolutely produces pain in the arm because you're shutting off the circulation in the arm.
Yep.
And so they have a qualitative painful stimulus, meaning they know this produces pain for sure in every person. And in these experiments, the volunteers were given a very low dose of morphine, and being pre-medicated with morphine, there's obviously a reduction in pain.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then they did a sleight of hand, and the researcher gives the volunteer saline, meaning like a salt solution, which is the placebo, meaning there's no morphine.
Nothing in it, right? It's just
in it,
you're filling yourself
but
up.
still says, here's the drug. And so the person's been conditioned to believe that he's going to receive morphine. And in many people, not all, there's a markedly reduced pain.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's because with the placebo effect, it releases endorphins and dopamine that diminish the pain response in the brain.
Interesting. Yeah.
And they've studied it. There's a drug called Narcan, which stops like an opioid, meaning like a morphine.
Yeah.
And they've given that to people, and the pain comes back. They've given that to people with placebo effect.
Oh,
you know?
really? Yeah.
Yes. And so what it's doing is it's blocking those pain receptors from getting the dopamine and endorphins. So,
wow.
So it's really true. And that's part of hope. That's like part of the biology of hope.
Yeah. Your hope has a lot of power, doesn't it?
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
It's very powerful for our lives. And like, think of people who completely lose hope and commit suicide.
Right. They think there's
absolutely no hope,
no
which
future.
is like just so sad.
It is sad. Yep.
And painful.
Yeah.
Not only for them, which is extremely painful and devastating, but everyone around them.
Mm-hmm.
It's very painful and devastating for. So, we're not saying that the placebo effect can do everything, but
right.
we're just saying this is how hope kind of works.
Right.
So,
interesting
I know.
stuff. Yeah.
It is. It is. So, I mean, just on the other side of that placebo effect, if you are like, oh, I'm going to eat a sugar pill and that's going to make me feel better.
Yeah.
That's not the placebo
The problem
effect.
is it's a sugar pill.
And the placebo effect is done, or placebo studies are scientific studies done with people who have consented.
Yeah.
And they may or may not be in the treatment group. So it is not done on people who don't know what they're doing. That's unethical.
Yeah.
So don't think your doctor is just like giving you fake stuff.
Yeah.
He or she is not allowed to do that. That's unethical.
Awesome.
So, how can we increase our hope?
That is the $1 million question. How can we get deeper hope?
Yes.
That's what we promised. Deeper hope.
Yes.
Okay.
So one of my favorite speakers is Steve Backlund.
Okay.
And he's got Igniting Hope Ministries.
Yeah.
Igniting Hope.
Hope. His whole ministry is about hope.
It is about hope.
Yeah.
And so I love listening to him. He's so encouraging. But he says if every area of your life is not glistening with hope, then you're believing a lie in that particular area. And that was what was going on with me.
Yeah.
When I lost hope, I was believing lies. I was not believing the truth that, for one, this was temporary.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know why I thought it will never change,
Mm-hmm.
or why we were all doomed. These are just kind of maybe automatic thoughts that we have, or at least I had.
Yeah.
But have you had situations where you've lost hope?
Oh, yeah. And again, a lot of times it's environment, it's other people, it's, people telling you that, there's no way that's going to happen. And
they're just making a statement.
Yeah, they're making a statement. And, we believe with God, all things are possible.
That's right.
So if you believe in God, there you go.
Super hopeful. So, I mean, basically, one way to work on this is assess your life or a situation and where are you at in the hope status with it.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you have low hope, what are the thoughts that you have about it? In fact, I would write these down. I would write down, what are all my thoughts about this situation? And then what is the truth in this situation?
Right.
Really, what is the truth?
Right.
And what is good about this situation? What can I be thankful for in this situation? And what have I learned in this situation? Because in my low hope situation, I did learn things. I became very grateful for things. I didn't take hope for granted anymore. There was actually a lot of growth that I experienced through that very low period.
And the Bible said, set your thoughts on things above.
Yes.
So even when you're analyzing your thoughts, what are you giving thought to?
Exactly. What are you thinking about?
You
Are
know-
you thinking about there is only one way and this is not going to
Right.
work?
Yeah. Fill your mind with good thoughts.
Or are you thinking there are options? So this Benjamin Hardy, PhD, he was did a survey and asking people, what gives you hope when things start to look bleak? Or what do you do when things start to look bleak? And the most common response with more than 3,000 responses was pray.
Mm-hmm.
That gives me the most hope, to increase my hope and optimism during a
That's a
challenge.
great one.
Yeah. And so he also talked about confidence being part of hope. And I think that confidence is in yourself. Like, can I make a change? Can I do something about it? And he said, celebrate the little things that you're moving forward in, toward this particular goal. The goal could be better health.
Right.
But what are the little victories, and celebrate them to try to increase that.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said, prayer, you're connecting with God. And
Right.
I just know that when I have been very discouraged and felt hopeless, and praying about it really brings a turnaround.
Right. And reading the Bible, like reading
Yes.
the Psalms, the Proverbs,
Yes.
you can just literally dig in there and you can draw hope out of that,
Yes.
which is kind of cool because you're filling your mind with power
Right.
from the Word.
And the God of hope, may the God of hope fill you
Mm-hmm.
with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope
Yeah.
by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. He's identified as the God of hope.
Yes, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So if you want the deepest, longest, eternal hope,
Yeah.
that is through God,
Yeah. That's awesome.
through Jesus Christ.
All right. We're not quite ready to wrap up because we got to talk about some essential oils, right?
Yeah.
We are Young Living brand partners, and anything we talk about on this show, you can go over to the show page at huntforwellness.com. That's HUNT, the number 4, wellness.com. This is episode 59. We have links right there. You click on them, you put in your information, and they get sent to you.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Yes.
And then you're helping the show too, doing that.
Right.
Okay.
So the essential oils affect the limbic system of the brain,
Mm-hmm.
through our olfactory system, through the nose,
Yep.
smelling them, and they go up into the brain. The brain deals with the limbic part of the brain deals with emotion and memory,
Mm-hmm.
and it regulates our autonomic nervous system, endocrine function in response to emotions. And so that's how essential oils can affect us. So it can help us
Yeah.
shift. Does it do all the work for us?
No.
No, but
Yeah.
it does help the body
It kind of
shift.
preps the body to receive.
Yeah, and to make a change.
Right.
And so Valor is a great one for just balancing physically and emotionally.
Mhm.
Love that. We use that every day. Hope, I just brought this down so we
Hope
could smell.
oil.
There's a Hope
There's an
essential
oil for that, right?
Yeah. So
Oh, that
what
smells awesome.
it does smell
I
really
love it.
good. This little purple
Is that one
bottle.
available separately, or is that
Yes,
in the
yes, that's-
collections?
That's separate.
Okay.
I don't think it's in any collection.
It isn't. Okay.
No.
Right.
So this is a great oil to be using, I'd say Valor and Hope,
Mm-hmm.
to use every day, multiple times a day, if you're really needing to make a shift. And it's a great oil to share with someone too,
Yeah.
if they need to make a shift. And I would say there's always times in our life that we might not have full hope,
Yeah.
might not be glistening with hope in every area of our life. So it is a good oil to be using regularly to make
Yeah.
shifts.
Well, I think too, when people lose hope, they have body language. They get tense. They get withdrawn, and that's where oils can come in and kind of let you relax.
Yes.
Probably hits that vagus nerve we talked about in
Yes.
the other deeper rest podcast. Huh?
Yeah, and just be open to, like, in the Snyder theory of hope, there's many options of having several options. There's not just one way to deal with a situation. Even if you don't know of the one way, other people do
Right.
know other ways, and maybe other people can help. Another interesting thing is when a person that has high hope helps another person with low hope, it helps them both.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
I know. Yeah, you become your own best assistant,
Yeah.
right?
So it helps even if you have low hope and you're
Yeah.
trying to help someone boost up, and it's going to help you too.
Yeah.
And what I would say, we talked about with that vagus nerve, the brain gut connection, probiotics help the mood and emotions too. So taking like a Life 9, or for kids, there's Mighty Pro probiotic.
Right.
And then Ningxia Red is that superfood drink that supports literally every system of the body, the digestive system, the brain, the heart, all that. So that is going to help a person who is in a low mood too.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, I gave her Ningxia Red for the first time, and about 45 minutes into our time together, she's like, that changed me. The Ningxia Red, it changed me. I'm like, what do you mean it changed you? And she said, I have been feeling low for like the past 4 months, and it just lifted.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
it is cool. It's amazing. So what I would say, mood is just not in the brain.
Right.
There's biology to it too, but it's not just biology.
Right.
There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, anything else before we wrap it up?
Well, God is our greatest hope.
I think that's a pretty good summary statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And I would encourage you to go back over at huntforwellness.com and check out episode 57, which is on deeper rest, and episode 58, which is on deeper joy. These all tie together.
Yes.
And there's lots of different products you can use to just help prepare yourself to receive all that. So this episode of Hunt for Wellness brought to you by waterdistillers.com. Great machines that produce great water for your great wellness, and they will give you incredible hope. I just threw that in there, but you can check them out at waterdistillers.com. And I have hope because next time we're going to hit episode 60.
Yes.
Wow.
Cool.
We're in season 2 of this show, and it's going strong. So check back for that on our next episode of Hunt for Wellness.